Hey guys, welcome in here. I'm VUTV Weather Director Mason Gleva.
And I'm Zoe Barajaz.
We're here to recap sort of the day's events. It's been a chaotic last 24 hours. We were thinking school was going to be canceled. We were all hoping the call was going to be made last night, but we had to wait until 6:01 this morning. Yes, I was counting, and yes, I was up when that email came. Classes were finally canceled, and that sort of threw a wrench in. We thought we were going to do a traditional newscast, but with classes being canceled, we decided just to do a weather special instead. So here's our snowfall map. I'm going to step out of the frame here for a minute. So that purple area was where I was thinking the bullseye was going to be. Not everybody in this purple shaded area was going to see the 6 to 10 inches of snow. I figured there were going to be these narrow swaths where that band was able to sit over long enough where those highest snow totals were going to rack up. Outside of that, we have a 4 to 8 with locally 10 plus wherever that band was going to set up, and then you kind of decrease as you get into these shades of blue. And here are the snowfall reports. So Walkerton, that's basically sort of that part of St. Joe County that sticks out kind of like a boot heel. 14 inches. There have been some reports of 14 and a half, but this is what the National Weather Service is going through. Heston had 13 inches. Valpo, this was just measured outside of the studios. This was an average even at a foot even. Drifts pushing a foot and a half. It all depends on where you're at on campus. Also a foot in North Liberty. St. Joe, Michigan, a little closer to the lakeshore, still managed to get over 10 inches of snow. South Bend set a record at just over 8 inches and then kind of decreasing away. DeMott, 6.5 inches. Goshen with 4.1. So here's the radar loop of the past 36 hours. I'm going to step out of the frame. The lake effect snow has migrated east. Elkhart County, you're getting slammed now. Here was yesterday morning. That initial band brought about 3 inches of snow. That moved to the east. South Bend was getting hammered. If you went to the Notre Dame women's basketball game, good luck getting home. It was not enjoyable. Whiteout conditions on the toll road and 94 for much of the afternoon yesterday. Then that band moved over by us before shifting over to the north suburbs of Chicago. Portions of southern Wisconsin saw over a foot of snow when that band was stationary up there. And then that band migrated back through and is now affecting areas along and primarily east of US 31. And you can kind of see the spin. I'll wait for it to come back through again. There was this spin that came through Valpo. The lake effect band was so strong enough, it generated kind of its own little area of low pressure, which drove the snow band's direction farther to the west here, and that's what slammed portions north of Waukegan with over a foot of snow. So I mentioned that snowfall record in South Bend. The new 24-hour snowfall record was just over 8 inches at 8.2. They broke the record of 8 inches even, set back all the way in 1913, so 112 years ago. That record fell. Zoe, I hear you had an interview with somebody that was out in that lake effect snow band last night.
Yes, I did. This afternoon, I got the opportunity to talk with VU student Evan Gustafson, who went out last night and got caught in one of those heavier lake bands. So let's take a look at that interview right now.
My name is Evan Gustafson, and I'm a meteorology major here, and I'm a senior.
And what were you doing last night when the snow started to roll in?
I was wanting to kind of be in the elements. I've always enjoyed snow and severe weather, and even though it's probably not the smartest thing to do, the opportunity kind of presented itself, and I knew it was going to be it's somewhat of a historic event going into last night.
So where did you end up going?
I ended up going north of Valpo, just on 49 up to Chesterton. And then kind of like in the commercial district where I set up camp and let the worst of the band come through. I wanted to go to the dunes, but also didn't want to get stuck because it was very sketchy
Yeah.
with the wind and the heavy snowfall rates.
And then what did you see when you were out there?
Just complete whiteout. I mean, it was everything I knew I was getting myself into. At one point, I want to say there was about 45 to 50 mile an hour wind gust, and I was standing outside recording myself, just kind of being a maniac out there, but enjoying the elements. So that was super fun.
There were some reports of some thunder snow. Did you happen to catch any of that at all?
Yeah, I was sitting on my phone and just saw a bright flash, and I'm like, there's no way, it has to be thunder snow. And then immediately got out of my car, and then a couple of seconds later, just the rumble of thunder. And first time in my life I got thunder snow. Something I won't forget, definitely.
Very cool. How long did you say you were out there?
I was out there actually for, I'd say, about an hour and a half. The band did move through pretty fast, but it also was very, very bad travel conditions, and with conditions deteriorating exponentially, there was a lot of accidents, a lot of people out of the ditch, so just kind of having to navigate around that was kind of half the battle too. But yeah.
Made it to 34 today despite all of the snow. Low was 22 degrees. We're going to be back down there again tonight. Nowhere near the record high of 74 degrees set back in 2020. Current radar, again, that lake effect snow band has moved east of us. Not really expecting it to wobble back west either. So we are done with snow for now. Not expecting any snow either in the forecast. Weak system tries to move through, but I think that'll increase clouds, maybe a flurry or two overnight tomorrow night. Current temps and conditions, it's cold out there. It's feeling more like December than early November. 29 degrees here in Valpo, 32 in Michigan City, 35 in Benton Harbor, and 31 out there at O'Hare. It's still a little breezy out, but not nearly as bad as it was throughout the day yesterday. Wind gusts generally 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the west. The west winds are helping to end the lake effect for us here. But those winds are also making it feel cooler, feeling like the teens right now in Valpo, feeling like 17, 16 in Knox. Areas that are still in the clouds are a little warmer, feeling like the low to mid 20s on average. Timing the rest of the evening out. Here's 9 o'clock. That lake effect snow band still setting up. Areas along and east of US 31. That shuts off by midnight tonight. There's that weak system that tries to squeeze out a couple flurries. I'm not all that impressed with it. If anything, it'd be a gloomy start to the day tomorrow. Starting out right around 30 degrees by 9 a.m. And then we don't recover. High temperatures right around 35. So we're well below average, but the gradual warming trend is expected. Here's Wednesday, very sunny day. We'll have highs in the low 40s. So it's a gradual warming trend, but we're getting there. Low tonight, 21 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, mid 30s. Gradual clearing as the day goes on. Little breezy, winds out of the south. That's going to bring in that warmer air at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. 7-day forecast here. A lot more boring in the weather department compared to the last 24 hours. Gradual climb, especially by Saturday in the mid 60s. We'll have an overnight rain chance that might last into the beginning portion of Sunday. And then that cold front will knock us back down to where we should be this time of year. Today, it wasn't just a big lake effect snow day. Today is actually the 50th anniversary of a historic event in the Great Lakes region. Zoe has more on that.
Half a century ago, the largest freighter on the Great Lakes at the time, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, sank in a storm on Lake Superior. The 50th anniversary of that tragedy, which killed 29 people, is being marked Monday. Mark Leland spoke with family members of one of the crew members about keeping alive the memory of those lost.
The Great Lakes and in the Coast Guard and as a young person.
Family of those 29 crew members who went down with the cargo ship routinely take part in the annual remembrance ceremony at the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum on the shores of Lake Superior in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Among them, Debbie Champeau, who was just 17 years old when her father, Oliver Buck Champeau, was lost aboard the SS Edmund Fitzgerald.
What is it like to have this yearly reminder?
It doesn't feel like closure at all. It feels like it's yesterday, and it brings him back. And it makes me very sad.
Debbie's father is one of 2 crew members on the Edmund Fitzgerald who grew up in Sturgeon Bay. The other is Russell Haskell. Both were engineers on the ship. Buck Champeau was 41 when he died, after sailing the world on different ships.
Did he share a lot about his time on ships?
No, and honestly, I didn't even really understand what he did on the ship. I had no idea about anything with the Fitz. All I knew is he was going away on a ship. I just knew he'd be back, and I'd hear a phone call, and it would be him. So I'm back in port.
Until that fateful night on November 10th, 1975, when the Edmund Fitzgerald would go down in a storm.
And after 50 years, will it be tougher for you, or?
It seems to be tough this year. It hasn't been the past years, but for whatever reason, this year is hard. It's hard.
It's amazing how fast 50 years goes by, because I remember the day it happened like it was yesterday. And I couldn't believe that it was actually happening and that my uncle would be gone.
Debbie's cousin Mike Champeau is the son of Buck's brother Jack. He says the two brothers were very close.
I've never seen two brothers closer in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see the bond between them, and
Oh,
they
yes.
kind of looked out for each other?
Oh yeah, and so when my dad was in Vietnam, my uncle said, if you pass in, if you get killed in Vietnam, I'll come get your body back. And that was the deal made. So when Uncle Buck went down on the boat on the Edmund, my dad tried everything to bring his body back up.
That's Jack on the right during the 1995 expedition to retrieve the bell from the Fitzgerald after it was determined recovery of all 29 bodies would not be an option. Instead, they would be left with the Fitzgerald to rest in peace. Once the bell was cut loose and brought up, it was Mike's father
Very, very emotional time.
who was the first to ring it.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was the first to ring it until last year. I was told that. So yeah, it's a great honor.
For Debbie, she relies on that bell from the ship to bring her peace year after year.
I have a grave that's empty at St. Joe's, and it just meant something to have a piece of the Fitz.
Once again this year, Debbie will be surrounded by others who lost loved ones on the Fitzgerald. And at the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum in the UP, they will once again ring the ship's bell 29 times to honor them.
It's very special. It's a piece of where they were. It's the last thing I feel they heard, that bell going off.
You just want your father to rest in peace.
I want him to rest in peace.
The wreckage of the Edmund Fitzgerald has been designated a grave site by the Canadian government.
I also had the chance to meet up with one of the Valpo meteorology students who was able to help out with the balloon launch, helping forecasters get a better idea of what the environment was like ahead of the lake effect snow band to try to improve forecasts.
My name's Aiden Illig, and I'm a sophomore meteorology major here at Valpo.
So you guys launched a balloon last night. Have you done that before? And what were you guys trying to do when you launched it?
Yeah, so last year we actually did another lake effect and just a snow event sounding balloon. But this year we wanted to do this one specifically because it could have been a historic lake effect for the Chicagoland area. So we prior did that 2 or 3 hours before the event just to get a good idea of what our environment could be leading to the band coming through that could cause all the heavy snowfall in the area.
Have you done a weather balloon launch before?
Yeah, so this is my second snow related weather balloon, but other than that I've done at least probably 4 or 5 normal severe weather, it was random admitted student day type sounding balloons as well.
And then did the department do anything else during the lake effect snow?
Not really, no. We just had one of our assistant meteorologist staff just stay around and help with the sounding of the balloon. But other than that, none of the professors were really there, and we just did a sounding just to see how we could possibly forecast.
And when you launched the balloon, did that data go anywhere? Was it shared with anyone?
Yeah, so once the sounding, the data has to come through the radio sound, which is attached to the weather balloon. So it has to go through the whole atmosphere. Then after we get the data itself, we usually send the SCUT data to our local National Weather Service offices and any professors and MET majors that also want to see data who weren't there.
A little lighthearted to end. What did you do with your snow day with no classes?
I basically just hanged out with friends and just actually yesterday night we from like 10:30 to midnight, we did a big old sledding event in the middle of the Lake Effect Band. And yeah, that's how we enjoyed our day off.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. First time Zoe and I have done a weather special, so this was definitely a bit of a chaotic day. Threw this together in what, 3 hours?
Yeah, it
So
wasn't that long at all.
not too shabby.
Yeah, for sure.
Great work. Thank you for joining us tonight again. I'm VUTV Weather Director Mason Gleva.
And I'm Zoe Barajaz. Have a great night.